बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। कश्मीर लिंक प्रोग्राम से मैं सैयद अरशद कैलगरी कनाडा से आप सबको सलाम पेश करता हूँ, प्रोग्राम में वेलकम करता हूँ। टुडे in my show I have two very prominent guests, one Claire Bidwell from Scotland and Javed Rathore from USA. Before starting our program, as usual, I have a special request to Kashmiris, Pakistanis, everybody who sympathize with the victims of Modi butcher, that please raise your voices against Indian brutalities in Indian occupied Kashmir. From this platform, we assure our brothers and sisters living in Indian occupied Kashmir that we will always be there on every step of your struggle. Welcome back. Claire, you hear me? Okay, good.
Yes, I can hear you.
Javed Rathore साहब, आपको भी आवाज आ रही है?
I can hear.
So as I was mentioning, two very active and very passionate human rights activists, Claire Bidwell, very passionate and committed human rights activist. Honestly, we Kashmiri owe her a big thank you for her unprecedented support and struggle, very tireless struggle for Kashmiris. And honestly, what as a Kashmiri, we are unable to do what she is doing. She is a co-founder of Let Kashmir Decide, and for 5th August 2021, in regard of 5 August 2019 abrogation of Article 370 and 35A, and then all the mess that is created by India in Indian occupied Kashmir, she has come up with another idea, Red for Kashmir. So we will talk about what she has done and what she is planning to do. Javed Rathore Sahab, Chairman, Kashmir Solidarity Council, or one of the prominent voice on every stage for Kashmiris. I really admire both of you, Claire Bidwell and Javed Rathore, that sometimes I feel like and I see that you guys are giving less time to your families, to your friends, to your social life than to Kashmir. So I think as a Kashmiri, and one of human rights voice, me as well, I thank you very much. Claire Bidwell, you started with lots of your friends, let Kashmir decide. Unfortunately, during the COVID fear and all the lockdown and stuff during last almost now 1.5 year, uh, we were unable to demonstrate or do the activities what all we would like to do. But still, you are very active and on social media, on online conferences and stuff. So now almost COVID fear is behind us. Uh, what would you like to say or share with our listeners about Kashmir? That what is going on still after almost 2 years now?
Yeah, I mean, I think, thank you for inviting us here, and thank you too for all the work that you do, and Javed as well. I think what's sad is that we see perhaps a worse situation than we did 2 years ago, which is quite heartbreaking given all the work that we've doing, or the Kashmiris are doing. So, we're seeing a lot of the fake encounters still going on. We're seeing the media completely clamped. Just recently, I think it's Rana Yassab or something like that, her name, and she's just over a tweet has been threatened with jail. So some of the news coming out has not been as proliferant as it had been because of these clamps on the media. We've seen the name I can never remember when I need to, beginning with D, of where they've gone through the country, giving rights to live there to Indians or to anybody. Can you remember that? Can you release my brain with the name I'm looking for?
Yeah.
It begins with duh. I would just normally just say it, but never mind. So misplacing people and going through, and then obviously now we're looking at the division of the land and the states of it and everything. We're still getting the atrocities coming out. We're still looking at the blindings. Still many people missing, widows, half widows. And sadly, like I say, the voices are being clamped. The latest really has been the prolific effort of Facebook and Twitter to just close accounts. And that has been, so it's like you were saying, we weren't able to get on the streets and out and about as much as we wanted to. But I think what we've done is made really good use of the links that we've all made with one another to build the unity, to build the connections, to share the news and find out. I mean, I know it's meeting activists, it's meeting other organizations and looking at highlighting different work, because I think we need people from all levels. There's the people on the streets, there's the people at the political level, the diplomatic level, there's the people with the knowledge. I call them walking encyclopedias. And so that is good for me to have access to those. So for my work, the COVID, it's the links and the unity that we've built through that. Even with Kashmiris, some getting news out and managing to share things and seeing the impact that that it's having. But we've seen, I think, the threat really of Modi. That's what we're watching. What's happening there, what he's doing, the Islamophobia that's essentially pushing the Hindu bar. And the world is still not opening their eyes enough. India are a threat to global peace. We know they're already a threat to the Kashmiris. And so that's my concern, that we bring it out to the people, we bring it out to the world. That's where I think we need to keep maintaining our work and make as much noise as we can and keep working at every level to keep the Kashmiris fight and struggle alive.
Yeah, very well said. I will ask Javed Rathore sahab, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I will say a few words in Urdu with Javed sahab, and then we will continue.
Yeah.
जावेद साहब और कश्मीरी लिसनर्स खुसूसन ये हैं वो लेडी जिनका इससे अलावा कश्मीर से कोई ताल्लुक नहीं है कि ह्यूमन राइट्स के हवाले से इस खातून ने अपनी पूरी जिंदगी ऑलमोस्ट जो है ना वो डेडिकेट की हुई है। आप इस इनके फेसबुक पेज पे जाएं, आप इनके व्हाट्सएप पे जाएं, तो इट्स अमेजिंग। और मुझे जो है ना मतलब एज ए कश्मीरी आई कैन नॉट एनफ वर्ड्स टू थैंक। लेकिन इस वक्त हमारे कश्मीर में जब 2 साल होने को आ रहे हैं, हमारे वहाँ आज़ाद कश्मीर में इलेक्शन होने जा रहे हैं, हम यहाँ दुनिया के मुख्तलिफ ममालिक में बैठे हुए हैं, कश्मीरी खुसूसन जो विक्टिम है, क्या देख रहे हैं कि इन लोगों को जिस तरह की क्लियर बिडवल जो एक्टिविटी कर रही हैं, हमारा काम बनता है कि हम इनसे 2 हाथ आगे हों या 10 कदम पीछे हों।
जी, Shah Sahab, first of all, I really appreciate that you provide us opportunity to join the stage with each other, me and Claire, and I really admire Claire for her contribution to highlight the cause of Kashmir. And secondly, really, this is a great question you asked, and I think, as you mentioned in Urdu, that Bedwell, she is not from Kashmir, but in spite of that, she is giving a lot of time for the cause of Kashmir. And we Kashmiris people should follow her footstep and not stay behind, but we should be more proactive than her and other voices, those are speaking out for Kashmir. As Kashmir is concerned, you know, Kashmir is under occupation for last 72 years, and people of Kashmir are continuously suffering, and India is continuously, you know, of, violating the human rights violation and doing all kind of carrying out all kind of barbaric tactics to suppress the freedom movement. So in such situation, you know, it's a crisis in Kashmir. There is a humanitarian crisis in Kashmir in different ways. If we look being a human being, it's a unfortunate situation in Kashmir. And if we look as a citizen of the whole world, and actually we all are now citizen of global citizens. Being a global citizen, it's responsibility of every citizen to stand up for the oppression against oppression, no matter where it happen in any part of world. If there is injustice, oppression, suppression, human rights violation, we should speak out because world is not anymore far from each other. We all are connected. Just recent pandemic proved that one problem in one part of world can travel to everywhere, all over the world within no times. So I think peace and prosperity can't be confined in one region or in one country. Every human being and every country has a right to and his citizens have a right to have their life peaceful and with all opportunities. But Kashmiris are denied, which is unfortunate. And I appreciate Claire and you and all other people, those always stand up for these oppressed people, those don't have voice.
थैंक यू वेरी मच। मैं बात करेंगे जो कश्मीर के हवाले से जो एक्टिविटी आप सब लोग यूएसए में वाशिंगटन में अरेंज कर रहे हैं, उसके ऊपर भी मैं आऊंगा, बात करेंगे हम। क्लियर बिडवेल, as we speak right now, whatever India says, it says, but literally, Indian occupied Kashmir is under siege, under curfew. Children are victim of pellet guns and cluster bombs. Khawateen, women, they are being raped systematically. So, in spite of all this, and yes, we have excused that there was a COVID, but there was double COVID for those unfortunate Kashmiris. You raise your voice, and your colleagues from UK and from all over the world. What you see that is there any sense of sympathy or realization that whatever in 21st century happening in Indian occupied Kashmir with Kashmiris without their fault, it was a clear cut war imposed on them. Is there any realization that what should now at least time has come after 73 years to rally around Kashmiris and give them their basic right of self-determination?
I think that's a mixed answer in two different levels. One, the less optimistic, and one, the more optimistic. So in the first instance, I'm going to say in a kind of general public awareness, no, that it's still not in our media. You know, the India lobby, you know, the India hold the media, the control, you know, it's the economics. So sadly, we're not seeing it. An occasional article might appear in the Guardian or the Independent, and when you read them, they're still, you can see they're toning them down a little. So to be honest, no, there's not that sense. You know, we saw the country recently really uprise for Palestine, which was encouraging because we were seeing people from all walks of society, perhaps people that wouldn't normally come out of their houses were coming out and joining the big demonstrations. You know, as soon as the ceasefire was called, though, they've all kind of disappeared again and it's quietened down. I think what we are seeing is a lot of the work at in the parliament and at the diplomatic level, at the higher level. So we do have cross-party representatives in our parliament who are, there's like the Conservative Friends of Kashmir, the Labour Friends of Kashmir, the Liberal Democrat Friends of Kashmir, and they also, you know, there's a Kashmir sort of committee, and they're from different parties, and they are slowly, you know, doing some work and chipping away, but it's very, very difficult because our current government, you know, they're too based on the economics, you know, and it's a challenge. It's just they overseeing all that. We saw, for example, you know, Pakistan went up as a red country way before India, yet India's figures were high, and you know, we're now suffering from that with the Delta variant. So we are up against it. But I think the optimism is that we have to keep doing what we're doing. And as you said at the beginning of the show, and as Javed has said, you know, we need to all move. We need still, you know, asking every Kashmiri, every person that supports the Kashmiri, any humanity to stand up and do it. And as Javed Rathore said, people need to be doing much more than I, particularly those that, you know, that have the knowledge, even if it's in your local area, you know, grassroots, get on the ground, hold meetings, just, you know, outside the masjids, anybody, anywhere in the city, leaflet, letting people know at the ground level so that we can then build that up. I think I was saying earlier, my plans to go down to the Palestinian demonstration, anti-fascist and stop the war in Bradford this weekend, and to take with me, you know, some cards to raise awareness about the 5th of August, speak to people and collect signatures for Yassin Malik. Now, if everybody was doing that, you know, in their town streets and their villages, and I think it's just encouraging everybody, whatever your skills are, whatever you can do it, because there's other people around you. We're all here. There's other people beyond us three here that are doing so much more as well. And if we know that, you know, that builds the encouragement. So, you know, an optimism for the future, because I do feel that because humanity is so squashed just now, if you like, and not as favored over economy, I think people are starting to see that. And I think COVID has, you know, made that aware. And I do think we could see change. With the change of governments and in the future, because there are more and more people coming to the cause all the time. Even environmental issues, you know, tap into it, because of the destruction to the environment that's going on, the deforestation, not just within Kashmir, but other countries that are conflicted as well. So I'm optimistic that we will see the change, but we are having to work really hard, I think, to create it. And we don't want anybody to lie down and you know, take it easy or just, you know, come out and wave a flag. They need to do so much more.
जावेद साहब, मैं आपसे रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि जो क्लियर ने कहा है उसको थोड़ा सा एक्सप्लेन करें, लेकिन इन नटशेल कश्मीरियों और जो भी ह्यूमन राइट्स के ऊपर बिलीव करने वाले लोग हैं, ये खातून आपसे कह ये रही है, जिसका कि ना कोई फैमिली मेंबर है, ब्लड रिलेशन का फैमिली मेंबर कश्मीर में, या जिसकी कोई इंटरेस्ट नहीं है, आपसे ये कह रही है कि दुनिया के जिस मुल्क में भी आप रह रहे हैं, अपने साथ रहने वाले, ख्वाह वो कश्मीरी हैं, ख्वाह वो पाकिस्तानी हैं, ख्वाह वो दुनिया के किसी और मुल्क के बाशिंदे हैं, उनको ये बताओ कि हमारे कश्मीर में क्या हो रहा है। हम हम कश्मीरियों की फैमिलीज हैं वहां पे, हमारे बच्चे हैं वहां पे, हमारी खवातीन है वहां पे जिनके साथ ये जुल्म सितम हो रहा है, और ये खातून आपको प्लीड कर रही है कि प्लीज, फॉर गॉड सेक, आप उठें, हम आपके साथ हैं। इस खातून की तरह के और बहुत से लोग हैं हमारे साथ हैं, लेकिन हम कश्मीरियों को लेना पड़ेगा अपने साथ होने वाले जुल्म के ऊपर। क्या कहेंगे आप?
जी बिल्कुल दुरुस्त है शाह साहब. I have to agree with Claire, and even I would like to add that it is really it's fact that issue of Kashmir is most misconceived, misunderstood, and overlooked issue since the last 70 years. And most of the people doesn't know about the issue of Kashmir and about the plight of people of Kashmir. And I think it's our responsibilities of Kashmiri citizen,
आपके जी
responsibility of all human beings to bring the plight of people on the streets of whole capital of the world, like George Floyd. You know, people all over the world, they came out on the street because they witnessed the heinous crime of that policeman, and they stand up against that. And I think I should take responsibility. We all should take responsibility that in spite of, uh, uncountable atrocities and human rights violation, we have been failed to bring the plight of people on the streets of Boston, New York, and all over the world. And I think people are human beings and they're really concerned about human rights. But we have to tell them, we have to bring our issue in front of other people. And as you said, there are many Pakistani American or Kashmiri, those are listening, and I request all of them, please play your role. ये हमारी जिम्मेदारी है. देखिए मेरे बच्चे यहाँ अमेरिका में रह रहे हैं, मुझे नहीं लगता कि वो कभी वापस कश्मीर जाएंगे या मैं जाके वहां सियासत करूंगा. हम इसी मुल्क में हैं, लेकिन ये हमारे ऊपर एक कर्ज है कि जिस मुल्क से हमारा ताल्लुक है, जहां हम पैदा हुए, और वो लोग अगर सफर कर रहे हैं, वो लोग अगर मजबूर हैं, उनको फ्यूचर नजर नहीं आ रहा, तो उनके लिए आवाज बनना ये हमारा फर्ज है, हमारा हक भी है, और हमें ये फर्ज अदा करना चाहिए. हमें सिर्फ इसमें नहीं भूल जाना चाहिए कि हमारी फैमिली खुश है, हम लोग खुशहाल हैं, हमें कोई परेशानी नहीं है. भाई कल आपके साथ भी ये चीज हो सकती है, और एक इंसान की हैसियत से, एक मुसलमान की हैसियत से, एक कश्मीरी की हैसियत से, एक पाकिस्तानी की हैसियत से, ये हम सब का फर्ज है कि हम उन लोगों के लिए आवाज बुलंद करें जो लोग इस वक्त कन्फाइंड हैं अपने घरों में, लॉकडाउन में जिंदगी गुजार रहे हैं, जिनके साथ दुनिया ने वादा किया था 70 साल पहले कि आपको राइट टू सेल्फ डिटर्मिनेशन दिया जाएगा, लेकिन आज तक वो हक नहीं दिया गया. और हम तो कोई नई चीज तो मांग नहीं रहे. कश्मीर तो पहले से मौजूद था, पाकिस्तान और हिंदुस्तान से पहले. हमारे दरमियान जो सरहदें हैं, आप इनको खत्म कर दें, हम लोगों को, फैमिलीज को आपस में मिलने दें. I belongs to the area which is really on a borderline, and we have relative on other side of the line, and we can throw a stone and that stone can go to other side, but we can't go. I see myself, the birds are sitting one side of the line of control, and they freely travel to others. But we are, what kind of human beings we are, that we are not able to see our loved ones, we are not able to travel across that line of control. What kind of this humanity is?
इन
What
21st century.
around the world? This is a hypocrisy which is stopping people and families to join their loved ones. This is very unfortunate, and I think it's our responsibility. Being a human being, it's incumbent upon us to speak out for the people of Kashmir.
Yeah. Uh, Claire Bidwell, you know, honestly, uh, the UK government or the ruler of that era during the partition, I think they are the responsible creating this mess, and we are paying the price, Kashmiris and lots of other part of subcontinent too. Uh, After all those 73 years, and especially last 2 years, when India uh, absolutely violated United Nations Security Council resolutions, its own constitution, and a bilateral agreement between India and Pakistan. India literally violated all those agreements. So, is there any way, uh, because you guys, like you and lots of other people, Let Kashmir Decide or Red for Kashmir, these activists and some member of parliaments, they are speaking loud and clear. So, is there any sense of urgency or realization on the part of government of UK that we should intervene and play a role to solve this issue of almost now 1 century?
I don't think there's an urgency. That again, so there isn't. We just think to discuss this a little bit in the last question. But what there is, they've said, I think at the last debate where it was out there, and it has been brought to mind, and we saw it in the Lords again as well. They had said they were going to meet with Modi. They're aware that the United Nations have sent out these 3 letters, and India just haven't responded. So that is in the halls of power. There is that knowledge. But they said they blamed it on COVID, that they couldn't go and then have that meeting. I don't know what would have come from that. I think, to be fair, this is where, for me, the work is at the people, that we need to inform the people. So within the UK, that's the role for me. I feel that huge sense of injustice about the whole thing, but in particular that this was at the UK's door, and they hurried away and left it. So there's that sense in me of, I never liked the British Empire anyway. My family were very much against the British Empire. So that was within my upbringing. So this whole sense of injustice stems from that. And for me, it's about letting the people know. The more people we can let know in the UK, then they will put the pressure on their councils, on their MPs, who will take the voices to Parliament. And that, for me, we need to get in at the students, let the students know, inform them, get into the universities, do some presentations in there, work together with the Palestinian activists, work together with any of those that are under the oppression or illegal occupation, because in a similar way, we're all at the mercy of the United Nations. So you've got the United Nations with these resolutions that are there, fair and just. They have amazing articles and charters. And if our world lived by them, we would be seeing a completely different space. So, we've done things like petition United Nations, write to United Nations, but we've just kind of come to the conclusion that at the moment it's just a talk shop, and nothing is really, they're not functional. It's not functioning as it should be. So as I sit here right now, the solution for me is to just raise that awareness. We can keep standing in solidarity. That's great. We can give that support, but we have to raise this awareness. And for me, that's through the people. And that simple adage, if the people want something, then we can have it. So in order for me to battle at our governments, and this goes worldwide, we wake the people in every country so that they can speak to their governments. We've only got as few countries speaking up. I know there are some people that are kind of lobbying the Pakistan government now to kind of say, can we take them to the judicial court? And so there's different people have their different ideas. So for me, it's about letting the people know, the UK and then worldwide, and those connections, because I say the more knowledge we can bring to it, the more, the more organizations, the more groups that can be aware of the Kashmiri issue, the more that can come to help. The students of the future, our children of the future, the politicians of the future are still to come through. So that's the optimism. We sit here right now, it seems ludicrous to me. It's an injustice. It's a huge injustice on a legal level. It's internationally illegal. And then all these people are suffering. That's how I see it. And why, these are international laws that are being violated. Why aren't they being resolved? So, that's the solutions for me, if you like, and that sense of urgency. There might be a sense of something, but it's certainly not a sense of urgency at the moment. But that would be, Yeah, we need to work fast as well, because obviously India are working fast, and that's the bit about it. There are a lot of Indian activists as well in support of Kashmir, who I do believe are trying to stand up and say a lot of things. Again, very difficult, because anybody on the street is pretty much, beaten up, and then the journalists are being clamped or vilified as much as they can, and again on social media, all these accounts being touched. But optimistically, we build it, we keep doing it, we keep doing what we're doing, we bring more people along to it, and then that people power can make the difference and bring that sense of urgency, I hope.
Yeah, Javed Saab, as Claire says, raise the awareness. And to raise the awareness, we are all organizing a Kashmir conference in Washington and protest in Washington again. So, can you explain that what are the plans and what you are expecting from people, especially in North America, whether it is Canada or USA?
Actually, this was planned because after the provision of clause of Indian Constitution, according to those clauses, India abolished the special status of Kashmir. And after that, there was a lot of voices all over the world in favor of people of Kashmir. But because of COVID, everybody has to stop, and India took that opportunity to further suppress the people. And
Mhm.
now COVID situation is a little better, getting better, and we decided this is the time that we should again become proactive and speak out for the people of Kashmir, and that's why we decided to organize a protest rally in front of White House, and on August 5th, and before that on August 4th, we invited all Kashmiri organizations, their representative and active Kashmiri and journalists to hold a conference. In that conference, we will discuss certain ideas that how we can go to a next step and what should be our strategy and what we want, and we will try to come up with some joint declaration on the occasion. And I think it's imperative for us to play our role, and we choose the space at White House. The reason is White House, America is still unipolar. It's a unipolar world. America is a powerful country, and actually, United Nation is a soft arm of United States and other powerful country.
Yeah,
So that's why we are also meeting couple of senators and some think tanks people, and try to spread the message and update about the situation that Kashmiri leaders, actually genuine Kashmiri leaders like Shabir Shah, Yasin Malak, Musarat Alam, Mirwaz, these Asia Andrabi, these all people are behind bar for many, many years, and they are not allowed to, interact and meet even with their families. And in absence of these Kashmiri leaders, India is again trying to stage some drama through some other puppets, but people of Kashmir are not behind those puppets. They are behind these genuine leaders. Those are behind the bars, and I think situation is grave, and it is getting worse and worse every day, especially especially in the Modi government. Because if you see Modi, he is really not a democrat. He's a demagogue. He came through a demagoguery. He misguided his people, and he has a team of thousands of his infurious adherents, and like a homogeneous people are sitting around him, like Amit Shah, Ajit Dole. They all are gangsters, and really it's very unfortunate, and situation is grave because their designs are not good. They introduces the law in India to vanish the Muslims and Christian from India. So they are following the policy of Hindutva, and Modi himself, he is a protagonist of that policy, that strategy, and this is a very dangerous situation for the world. In last century, there was a Hitler, and I think new Hitler of this 21st century is Modi. And if we will not stop supporting him, if the world will continue to support him, then he will be a Hitler. He will prove himself he's a Hitler, and his past is in front of us. His hands are blooded with the blood of thousands of Muslims in Gujarat. So this situation is very grave, and I think we don't have comprehension of the situation, and we have to tell people, we have to raise voice, and we have to update the situation to Americans, European journalists, politicians, all kind of mover and shakers. Yeah.
या जिस तरह के जावेद साहब ने कहा, और जो जो भी लिसनर्स हैं, खुसूसन जो वाशिंगटन के नज़दीक की जो स्टेट्स हैं, या इवन जो हम लोग यहाँ कनाडा से, वी आर प्लानिंग टू गो टू अटेंड दैट कॉन्फ्रेंस एंड दैट प्रोटेस्ट रैली. सो जितने भी लोग वाशिंगटन, ये किसी एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के तहत नहीं हो रही है, बल्कि इसमें कश्मीर की जितनी भी ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैं वो ऑन बोर्ड हैं, राइट?
Yeah, so whole Kashmiri diaspora, every organization, every Kashmiri, we invited everyone.
Yeah, and Kashmiri organizations, पाकिस्तान की जो डायस्पोरा है वो, या जो ह्यूमन राइट्स के ऊपर बिलीव करने वाली जो भी कलर या बैकग्राउंड के लोग हैं, उनको इसमें पार्टिसिपेट करने के लिए सबसे पहले हम कश्मीरियों को कायल करना चाहिए, अपना ये मैसेज स्प्रेड करना चाहिए कि 4 अगस्त 2021 को 4 अगस्त को कश्मीर कॉन्फ्रेंस वाशिंगटन में, और 5 अगस्त को जो कि 2 साल मुकम्मल हो जाएंगे जो इंडिया ने 5 अगस्त 2019 को आर्टिकल 370 और 35A अब्रोगेट करके इंडिया को एक तरह से डबल जो है वो पहले से ही ऑक्युपाई था, लेकिन और उसका बिल्कुल स्टेटस इस तरह से चेंज कर दिया कि वहाँ के ऊपर वहाँ की डेमोग्राफी चेंज की जा रही है, उसको अपने जो एक स्टेट का दर्जा दे के, और कर्फ्यू और मीडिया के ऊपर पाबंदी लगा के तमाम जो प्रोमिनेंट लीडर्स हैं उनको अरेस्ट करके, तो उसके खिलाफ हमने आवाज उठानी है. ये हमारे लिए अपॉर्चुनिटी इसलिए है, फर्स्ट टाइम आफ्टर कोविड लास्ट ईयर अनफॉर्चुनेटली वी कुड नॉट डू इट, लेकिन इस दफा ये है कि रिस्ट्रिक्शन जो है वो ईज हो गई है, सब लोग कोई पाबंदी नहीं है मास्क वगैरह की भी, और वैक्सीनेशन जो जिन लोगों की हुई है तो वो जरूर इसमें पार्टिसिपेट करें. और चूंकि वाशिंगटन में हो रहा है, तो वाशिंगटन में हमारे पास ये अपॉर्चुनिटी है कि हम यूएसए को भी और वर्ल्ड को भी ये बताएं कि हमारे साथ ये जुल्म हो रहा है, ये जुल्म बंद होना चाहिए. और हमारा जो सिंपल हमारी जो डिमांड है वो ये है कि हम अपना जो राइट टू सेल्फ डिटर्मिनेशन है, द वेरी राइट दैट वाज गिवन टू अस एज ए कश्मीरी फ्रॉम यूनाइटेड नेशन सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल repeated resolutions, just give us our right to self-determination and let us decide that what we want. We want an independent Kashmir, we want to go with India, we want to go with Pakistan. That those are the 3 choices. So once we have that opportunity, let us decide as a Kashmiri that what is our future. Clear? It was very wonderful. Let Kashmir decide. Lots of activities. It was, very encouraging. Lots of people got involved. Now you come up with another idea, Red for Kashmir, and what is actually mean when you say Red for Kashmir, and what you are expecting or hoping this event Red for Kashmir in regard of 5th August 2021.
Yeah, okay. To go back to the beginning of the question, I mean, let Kashmir decide in our solidarity event, which we then had to do online. We still hope to do that. That is still very much, one day we will have this event from Kashmir, this tea event, and everybody in every country will drink tea with Kashmir. That's still what we're campaigning for. The Red for Kashmir is a mixture of us. It's not just come from me. Somebody actually approached me with the idea. They said that they were feeling that the Kashmiris were losing a lot of heart, and people seemed to be, not aware or pulling away. And there was this idea that it was then based on what the Kashmiris had done when the lockdown came in August the 5th, 2019, and how they all turned their profiles red. And that came from the Kashmiris and the Kashmiri diaspora. And we saw that kind of, it filtered out through the world, and it informed people that were watching, were seeing, lots of questions. What are these red profiles? We saw people on the streets in demonstration out in red. And I think, the Stand with Kashmir, I think that had helped initialize that as well. So this person, came to me with this idea, and it was like, for me, I was like, this is so simple, but it's so effective, and it's building out on the Kashmiri's voice. And because we wanted very much, it's not about, me driving the well, didn't want it to be about me driving the campaign or anybody driving the campaign. I wanted it to be for all of us, for the Kashmiris to grab hold of it and push it out, for anybody, anywhere, whoever we are, whatever we're doing, to drive that outward. So it was essentially a social media campaign, because we felt that at the time, we weren't going to be able to come out on the streets. So it was also kind of based on, there's one, the Black for Rohingya, which has been going for, I'm not sure, it's 13 years now, about 13 years. And they have about 26,000 people that they reach through that. And essentially you upload an image of yourself wearing black or in black, and you holding a sign, just Black for Rohingya. So hashtag Black for Rohingya. So it's kind of based on that idea. So it was red for Kashmir. Everything can be, hashtagged. So it was, first of all, looking for people, turn your profiles red. We can all do that. Any of us can do that. If that's all we do on that day, that's better than nothing. And we can reach lots of people with that. And then, we've created the cards, the red for Kashmir, the posters with the, the different slogans, but essentially people saying, I'm supporting red for Kashmir. And it's, they're out there, so they can be uploaded. So we're asking people on the 5th of August to turn their profiles red, upload their poster or an image or a picture of something to do with red, something about Kashmir on Twitter, all platforms, hashtag red for Kashmir. But what we're now pushing out to beyond is asking people to come out on the streets on the 5th of August to do like a vigil, a candle vigil, so that anybody that hasn't got a protest, we want people to do anything anywhere. So Dr. Javed, that protest in Washington, it to me, that's, genius, because we have to go to America. That's where the crux of it is, to take it to the White House. That's where the power is. They're the ones that inform the rest of the world. That's the kind of nature of it. So the Red for Kashmir campaign gives us the opportunity to raise this. What anybody's doing, it's all, even if it's not going under any Red for Kashmir slogan, as it were, it can be right. We're all doing something. So what we've tried to reach out for different people, for different ideas, for different demonstrations. And there's still some, not necessarily apathy about how we go it, what's effective. We can't keep doing the same things. How can we change it? So what we've suggested is that obviously as many demonstrations as people could do, perhaps the weekend nearby. Car rally was one of the something we're looking at for Scotland or the UK. But again, with COVID, the idea that we're opted for, and we're going to push this out, it's only just kind of been discussed with a few of us that have, we've got activists now all around the world that are putting in their different ideas. We've linked with the Black for Rohingya people to get the advice off them and then to try and maximize it. So we're looking for people to do candlelight vigils. So within every country at 1 p.m. in the afternoon, we want people to light a candle for Kashmir. Wherever they are, you can do this at home. You can do it on your small locality. You could go to a town, you could go for a city. People could raise these. And we felt it was quite, you can do visual representations there. You could do visual scenes, you create a scene, and people can social distance. It doesn't have to be a big mad cloud. So it's very much about, standing with Kashmir, with the half widows, for the justice, for the prisoners, for the martyrs, for everything, but also hoping to, if we take the awareness to our localities in towns, other people will see, and rather than one big, we still want big demonstrations, but on the actual day, this could be something that could be quite effective. We can use social media to share it out. It would also then be something that people could upload with the hashtag Red for Kashmir. So we will be sending the posters out later, and we'd like people to join in with that, spread them out further. And also any campaigns or demonstrations that anybody is doing around the 5th, we'd love to hear, we'd love to know. There's a Red for Kashmir page and that people can come to on Facebook, and we can share this awareness. You know, we all need to work together, encourage one another, embrace one another's strengths to raise this issue. The red for Kashmir, I think it's open for interpretation. So essentially, I saw it as like red for the alarm, red for blood, red for kind of, you know, stop these violations. But somebody actually said to me the other day, the way that she'd interpreted it was the red of the heart and the red for love. And that actually, you know, that changes a kind of dynamic on it. And so I very much quite like that concept that, you know, but it's got so much to it. But essentially now I think it's internationally, it's the red from the heart and the red for love and for peace and for, and I think that, so it's open to interpretation, but it's from the Kashmiris, and we're looking for them to, like I say, everybody can drive this. This doesn't have to, you know, be me. I might have reinitiated it with the, you know, the person that suggested it and with other teams, but we very much want the Kashmiris to take this, the Kashmiri diaspora, those to just use it and drive it, and let's get more people involved. So thank you.
So 1 p.m. UK time?
Yeah, 1 p.m. any time, so that the nations.
Okay.
So in the UK, we'll do it at 1 o'clock. In Canada, time districts 1 o'clock. You know, in America, I think the demonstrations at 2 o'clock. But anybody could light that candle at 1 o'clock. And all nations, we've kind of done like, you know, all nations are united, and the whole world is invited, and that's where we're going forward with that.
Okay. So basically, जो रेड फॉर कश्मीर का जो कंसेप्ट है वो ये है कि इस दिन के लिए अगर आपका ट्विटर अकाउंट है तो उसमें आप अपना स्टेटस जो है वो डाउनलोड कर सकते हैं, रेड फॉर कश्मीर, वो चेंज करें, हैशटैग रेड फॉर कश्मीर। आपका फेसबुक अकाउंट है, उसका जो आपकी प्रोफाइल पिक्चर है उसकी जगह आप हैशटैग रेड फॉर कश्मीर,
और social media accounts,
या एनी सोशल मीडिया अकाउंट आपका जो है उसका स्टेटस उस दिन आप जो है ना अपनी प्यारी तस्वीर हटा के तो हैशटैग रेड फॉर कश्मीर, सो डू दैट वन थिंग, दिस इज द मिनिमम व्हाट यू कैन डू। लेकिन इसके अलावा 5 अगस्त 2021 को हमारे ऊपर ये जिम्मेदारी है, जिस तरह क्लियर ने कहा कि 1 PM ये यूके टाइम के मुताबिक कर रहे हैं कि प्रोटेस्ट रैली जहाँ पे भी हूँ, आपके पास साइन होना चाहिए, आपके पास पोस्टर होना चाहिए, आपके पास साथ लोग होने चाहिए जो ये अवेयर करें दूसरे लोगों को स्ट्रीट्स के ऊपर, घरों में, ऑफिसेज में, कि ये 5 अगस्त 2021 का दिन, हम इसके पीछे क्या महरक़ात हैं, क्या रीजंस हैं कि हम ये दिन बना रहे हैं। और जो इससे बढ़ के कर सकते हैं वो ये कि जहाँ के जिस शहर में भी या जिस मुल्क में भी कार रैली हो रही है उसमें अटेंड करें, जहाँ पे प्रोटेस्ट हो रहा है उसमें शामिल हों। और जिस तरह के मैंने भी कहा, जावेद साहब ने भी कहा कि वाशिंगटन USA में हमारी सबसे बड़ी रैली हो रही है 5 अगस्त को। जावेद साहब, उसका टाइम क्या है?
3 बजे
3 बजे वाशिंगटन टाइम, राइट?
वाशिंगटन में जी 5 अगस्त को
5 अगस्त 3 बजे आफ्टरनून वाशिंगटन टाइम के मुताबिक एग्जैक्टली उसका आपको लोकेशन हम शेयर करेंगे। लेकिन जो जनरली जो वो कौन सी जगह है, इन फ्रंट ऑफ व्हाइट हाउस है या
इन फ्रंट ऑफ व्हाइट हाउस है? हाँ, तो बाकी डिटेल्स हम शेयर करेंगे। और मैं 5 सेकंड में एक बात करना चाहूंगा, सारे लोगों से ये गुजारिश करना चाहूंगा कि देखें, अगर दुनिया के अंदर कोई ताकतवर है और उसके ताकत के खौफ से आप ना उम्मीद हो जाएं और आप परेशान हो जाएं और अपनी आप जद्दोजहद छोड़ दें, तो फिर आपकी हमायत कोई भी नहीं करेगा। अल्लाह ताला ने भी यही फरमाया है कुरान मजीद में कि लैसल इंसाना इल्ला मा सआ, इंसान के लिए वही कुछ है जिसकी इंसान कोशिश करता है। आप अगर कोशिश करें, आपका बिलीव है कि यू आर ऑन राइट साइड, तो आप कोशिश करें तो अल्लाह ताला जरूर हेल्प करेगा, उसका फायदा होगा, आपको फतेह हो सकती है। اب 313 میدان بدر میں کتنی بڑی فوج کو شکست دے سکتے ہیں. اس کی وجہ یہ تھی کہ ان کے اندر پیشن تھا, مطلب ہے وہ ایک محبت تھی, ایک پیشن تھا. اگر آپ کے اندر کشمیر کے لوگوں کے لیے محبت ہے, ہمدردی ہے, پیشن ہے, تو آپ نکلیں, بڑی تعداد میں نکلیں. یقین کریں جتنے زیادہ لوگ اگر آ جائیں گے اس کا بہت بڑا افیکٹ ہوگا. کیونکہ اس دفعہ انشاءاللہ امریکن میڈیا بھی وہاں موجود ہوگا, اور ہم پوری کوشش کر رہے ہیں کہ مین سٹریم میڈیا بھی وہاں موجود ہو, اور تاکہ آپ کی آواز ہر جگہ پہنچے. تو آپ سارے لوگ آئیں, اپنی فیملی کو, اپنے بچوں کو, اپنے دوستوں کو, اپنے پڑوسیوں کو لے کر آئیں, زیادہ سے زیادہ لوگوں کو لے کر آئیں.
ویری ویل سیڈ. اور جو سب سے بڑی جو آپ نے جنگ بدر کی بات بھی کی, لیکن امام حسین علیہ السلام کی یزید کے خلاف کھڑا ہونا اور پھر ساری قربانی دینا, یہ ہمارے لیے سبق ہے کہ آج جو ہے نا وہ یزید کو وقتی طور پر تو جو ہے نا یزیدیت نے یہ سمجھا کہ ہم نے جو ہے نا امام حسین علیہ السلام کو شہید کر کے یا ان کے 72 ساتھیوں کو شہید کر کے تو ہم نے فتح کر لیا. لیکن آج نام کس کا لیا جا رہا ہے؟ حضرت امام حسین علیہ السلام کا نام لیا جا رہا ہے. فتح ان کی ہوئی ہے. اسی طرح ایک وقت میں ہٹلر تھا جو یورپ کے ایک ملک کو روند کے دوسرے ملک میں جا رہا تھا, اور دنیا یہ دیکھ رہی تھی کہ جو ہے نا پوری دنیا میں جو ہے نا وہ ہٹلر کا رول ہوگا. لیکن آج کیا ہوا کہ ہٹلر کا نام لینے والا کوئی نہیں ہے, لیکن اس کے خلاف کھڑے ہونے والے یا اس کے ظلم کے خلاف آواز اٹھانے والے پوری دنیا میں ہیں. تو یہ مودی تو جو ہے نا یہ تو کسی وہ جو کہتے ہیں نا کہ کسی کی مولی ہے ہی نہیں. اس کے سامنے جو ہے نا میرا خیال ہے کہ جس طرح ہماری یہ عظیم خاتون کلیئر یا اس طرح کے جو لوگ کھڑے ہوئے ہیں, تو ہمیں بھی اسی ایمانی جذبے کے ساتھ جو حضرت امام حسین علیہ السلام نے, جو ہمارے پیغمبر نے ہمیں میسج دیا ہے, اس جذبے کے ساتھ کھڑا ہو کے آواز اٹھانی چاہیے, خواہ دنیا کے جس ملک میں بھی ہیں. اور اسپیشلی ہم لوگ تو بلیسنگ ہے ہمارے لیے کہ ہم جو سیولائز ملکوں میں ہیں, وہ خواہ وہ یورپ ہے, خواہ وہ نارتھ امریکہ ہے, یہاں پہ ہمارے اوپر کوئی قدغن نہیں ہے کہ ہم جو ہے نا وہ اپنے رائٹ کے لیے آواز اٹھائیں, پروٹیسٹ کریں, یا جو بھی جو لیگل یا پیسفل مین ہے وہ استعمال کریں. تو ہمیں ضرور جو ہے نا یہ اپرچونٹی کر کے یہ آواز اٹھانی چاہیے. Claire, thank you very much. You took a time to share your ideas and thoughts. What would you like to say at the end to all the human rights activists, all the people, those believe on humanity, those believe on human lives, and especially to Kashmiris?
Yeah, I think to the human rights activists or anybody that's involved, you know, it's like, look how much one person can achieve. And for people not to believe they can't make a difference, because one of the most important things is, you know, by acting, what a huge difference you can make. I mean, look at Javed there with his actions, you know, the Washington, and it just explodes. And it comes from one person. And I know the same with myself. You know, I thought when I saw this injustice, it's like, you know, this isn't right, but what can I do? I can't do anything. But then you start to just think, well, hang on, you know, I'm going to try this and I'm going to. So I'd love to see everybody anywhere, whoever they are, asking themselves, what can I do? What can I do to make this bigger? Whether some people write, whether some people get out on the streets, whether you tell your neighbor, whether you tell your friends, I think we can all do something. Unity is always really key for me. I would really like to see, you know, under those divisions, whether people want to go with Pakistan, with India, or independence, under those divisions, first and foremost, I would love to see everybody pulling together, working together for the self-determination. Nobody should fear what the outcome would be. You know, if what Kashmiris want should be what Kashmiris have. And there should be nobody, you know, fearful of the independent people, because if that's what they want, then that's what they should have. So everybody should pull together, and that's democracy. And that's a basic human right. And so people need to look at, you know, when they're, you know, putting down other people or whatever, that I would really like everybody to have a look, because there's unity, you know, in it's strength. It's strength. And if we're going to divide ourselves, then that's weakening our cause. So for me, the Red for Kashmir is something that everybody can get behind, whoever you are, whatever your perspective, and that's about then humanity. If people don't want to go with the slogan of Red for Kashmir, because that's something they want to do their own thing. I know I used to be very much, somebody would tell me this is a day you have to do this or you can't do that. I didn't want to do it because I didn't want to be caught up in but I think it's important that it's used, that we support that, and anybody can get behind it. Yeah, for the Kashmiris, I mean, that there for the grace of God go I. That could be I that is in that situation, and I know individual people that live in fear, every day, and I know this is going to take a while to undo, but I know that they're not, I know the Kashmiris are fighters. They're not victims, they're fighters. And I think that then strengthens me to carry on as well. So the message for the Kashmiris is, people are with you. We're here, we're with you, we're fighting. You're not on your own. So everything that you're standing up for, everything that you're doing within it, keep doing it. We will win through in this. There's no other, it's fairness, it's justice, and the truth always comes out. The truth always wins. So we've just got to keep battling and get our way there. Thank you.
Very well said. Thank you very much. जी जावेद साहब क्या कहेंगे आप लास्ट?
जी मैं भी आखिर में यही कहूँगा, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल आई वुड really like to express my gratitude to you for hosting and organizing this program on this topic, and also appreciate Claire for her passion and her contributions. And I would like to request all the people. So it's upon us. People will count us if we stand up. If we stay silent in our homes, then nobody will listen, nobody will care. And whatever is going to happen, it's going to happen. You will not have any contribution. So it's our responsibility to come out on the streets, especially on August 5th, on Washington and everywhere else where people are coming out for protest, and make a movement, this moment make historical, and tell the world that Kashmir is a burning issue. It's a flashpoint. It's a very grave situation, and it's need world attention. And it's imperative for the peace of the region, for the prosperity of the region, to bring peace. And peace can be only brought with the resolution of Kashmir. Unless there is no resolution, there is no justice, there is no peace. The great human rights leader, civil rights leader, Dr. King said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So we have to bring and establish justice all over the world. Thank you very much, Shah Saab.
Thank you very much, Claire. Thank you very much, जावेद साहब. और एंड पे दोनों का मैसेज यही है, और मैं अपनी आवाज भी इसमें शामिल करता हूँ कि 5 अगस्त इज द डे कि जब सबसे पहले कश्मीरियों को, उसके बाद ह्यूमन राइट्स के ऊपर बिलीव करने वाले सब लोगों को बाहर निकलकर मोदी की उस दरिंदगी के खिलाफ आवाज उठानी चाहिए. आज भी हमारे इंडियन ऑक्युपाइड कश्मीर में 21वीं सदी में इंटरनेट की बेसिक फैसिलिटीज नहीं है, मीडिया की आज़ादी नहीं है, किसी तरह की ह्यूमन राइट्स की जो इवन जो हेल्प करने वाले जो इदारे हैं, रेड क्रॉस है, उनको उस तरह की आज़ादी और फैसिलिटीज नहीं है कि वो लोगों को जाके हेल्प कर सकें. तो इसके खिलाफ जरूर आवाज उठाएं. ये हमारे बच्चों का, हमारे मुस्तकबिल का, हमारी धरती का मसला है. थैंक यू वेरी मच.
थैंक यू जी. अल्लाह हाफिज.
थैंक यू.